The Count of Kingsburrough, a Dungeons and Dragons adventure. The township of Kingsburrough lies nestled in a cleft of the world, long forgotten by light and laughter, surrounded on all sides by a dense and suffocating forest where the trees lean too close and whisper secrets not meant for mortal ears. A permanent shroud of mist hangs over the crooked rooftops and crumbling cobblestones, a pallid veil that mutes the sun and bleeds color from the land. The fog is not natural. No wind stirs it, no warmth disperses it. It is the breath of the Count, a vaporous extension of his curse, ever present, ever watching. The roads leading out of Kingsburrough have long since vanished beneath creeping vines and sinkholes that seem to open with hungry intent. Horses go mad at the town's borders, and those who attempt escape vanish without trace, save for the occasional of bloodied clothing or the echo of screams heard deep within the forest. And so, the people remain in Kingsburrough, for what choice do they have? The townsfolk, those who yet live, are pale echoes of humanity. They tend to failing crops that refuse to thrive, speak in hushed tones, and avert their gaze from the castle that looms above them. A vast obsidian monolith hewn from the living stone of the mountain, its silhouette jagged and cruel against the waning sky. It is a monument to despair, and none who are summoned there ever return. Before the curse fell upon this land, the Count of Kingsburrough was a mere aristocrat, a decadent glutton, cloaked in silks and scented powders, a flamboyant dandy whose bottomless appetites were known throughout Breland. His lust for decadence knew no mortal limits. He dined not merely for sustenance, but for the rapture of conquest, gorging himself on the rarest delicacies, culled from the farthest reaches of the known world. Truffles unearthed beneath forgotten moonlight, songbirds stewed in gold, oysters fed on crushed pearls. However, though piggish, he was a proficient ruler, who cared for his province with a divine benevolence, until he was damned for a transgression against nature. In a clearing deep within the woodlands, beneath gnarled boughs and the stars, the Count and his subjects laid claim to a creature believed only to haunt myth, a unicorn, a being of purity and magic. Its blood ran silver, and he drank it with a goblet fashioned from a saint's skull. That act, the defilement of purity, the sacrament of slaughter, did not go unnoticed. In the bowels of the earth, beneath root and ruin, something stirred. Not God, nor beast, but an ancient will, old as the bones of creation, woven into the very marrow of the world. It rose from loam and shadow, draped in darkness, and it spoke. Its voice was the grinding of tectonic stone, the groan of ancient trees, and in that voice it laid a curse, not only upon the Count, but upon all who dwelled beneath his dominion. The hunger he had chosen was made eternal. The banquet he would now demand was that of the subject's flesh. His soul was then unstitched and rewoven in nightmare. His veins ran cold with thirst, his form twisted beyond recognition. He became a thing of hunger and hollow joy, a vampire, yes, but something far more insidious and foul, a wraith of sorrow, a predator not content with mere blood. The Count consumes entirely, flesh, soul, and memory. Those consumed are not gone, but trapped, their spirits forever imprisoned within the Count's grotesque form, devoured, yet undying. Once, The townsfolk rose up. In a last act of rebellion, a band of desperate villagers stormed the castle walls, but they did not breach the gate. Their corpses were collected, sewn together with crude artistry and unholy rites, forged into a towering abomination known as the Brood. It now stalks the castle's outer grounds, wielding a cleaver the size of a carriage door, its many heads moaning in torment. The people of Kingsburrough hear its footsteps in the night, the dragging of iron, the gurgling wails, and remember what becomes of dissent. Nearly a year has passed in this living nightmare. Then, one storm-lashed night, a raven, old, half-blind, and ragged, landed in the belfry of the Church of the Silver Flame, far across the mountains. Tied to its leg was a scrap of vellum, stained with blood and soot. The message read simply, "The Count of Kingsburrough. We are devoured. Save us." 3 arbiters of the Silver Flame were sent, warriors, exorcists, and scholars of Holy Flame. Clad in relic armor and bearing the sacred rites of banishment, they vanished into the mist of Kingsburrough. That was 3 months ago. Nothing has been heard since. Now, the Church sends 3 more. Our fateful heroes. The road to Kingsburrough has long ceased to be a road. What remains is a trail of cracked stones and half-swallowed milestones, winding like a forgotten scar through an ancient, lifeless forest. The trees loom close here, too close. Their trunks twisted with age, their bark blackened as if scorched in some long-dead fire. A grey mist curls around your boots and rises like a living thing, thickening with every step forward. The light seems to die behind you. Sun, stars, and moon vanish above, swallowed by a ceiling of cloud and branch. Only the sound of your breath, the crunch of withered leaves, and the distant caw of something unseen accompany you. Then, all at once, the trees part. There, nestled in the basin of the hills, Kingsburrough reveals itself, a cluster of sagging rooftops and leaning chimneys, its buildings half consumed by ivy and rot. A crooked sign sways in the breeze, etched with letters long faded. "Welcome to Kingsburrough." Above it all, perched like a vulture on the cliffs beyond, the Count's castle broods, its spires claw at the sky, black against the pale fog, utterly still and utterly watchful. As you step across the threshold into the village, a chill passes through you, not of cold, but of recognition, as if the land itself has taken note of your arrival. The village is nearly silent. The few villagers you pass do not speak. They watch from behind curtains or stand unmoving in doorways. Their faces are gaunt, their eyes sunken, and their clothing hangs from them like burial shrouds. No children are visible, no laughter. The air is thick with mildew and wood smoke, though no chimneys smoke. The fog never lifts. The bells of the town church have long since fallen silent. A one-eyed man sweeps an already clean stoop. An old woman rocks in a chair that creaks louder than her bones. A raven, its wings tattered and mottled with ash, circles overhead and lands on the gallows in the square. Tied to the post of the gallows is a parchment nailed with rusted iron. On it are a few words, scrawled in a fevered hand. He calls, we go. He hungers. Eventually, you find your way to the only place that resembles an inn, a crumbling 2-story structure whose sign hangs by a single chain. The symbol on it might once have been a hearth or a flame, but is now blackened and illegible. Inside, the hearth is cold. The barkeep, a mute man with burned scars across his jaw, says nothing. He only points to a table. Moments later, a woman, middle-aged, eyes ringed with sleepless purple, brings out bread hard as stone and a stew that smells faintly of iron. She sets it down, looks over her shoulder, and whispers, "He knows you're here. You must hurry. Nightfall is nearly upon us." This is where our adventure begins. Steel your minds and sanctify your souls, for the Count of Kingsburrough is no mere tyrant, but a wretched revenant of insatiable hunger, whose heart is as void and black as the gulfs between stars. You, arbiters of the silver flame, 3 sparks against the devouring dark, must ask yourselves, can salvation yet be wrested from the jaws of this accursed dominion? Or shall Kingsburrough be swallowed whole by the Count's endless unholy feast?